All right. All right. Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Mikey Wine here. You guys know me as Gundam Money Works, and we're live. This is part 7 of the Gundam main battle tank M61A5. And what's up, Nick? And my brother is in the house. What do you mean, boo? Boo, or as in boo? Like boo as in scare me. Boo. Giovanni's in. We got 3 in right away. How you guys doing? So, last week we were doing a bunch of masking, and it is still masking hell over here. And I was hoping to be done with all the masking, but I did manage to get a good chunk of the masking done and painted those anti-slip panels with the other darker color on most of the main body. The only thing I didn't get finished was the turret, and I'll show you all that. Surprise. What's up, Dave? How you doing? All right. So with that, we're going to do some panel lines tonight. I got a majority. I got the 2 fenders done, and I got the body of the tank, and I got I clear coated all that stuff. I clear coated the bottom, the bathtub basic portion of the tank. Like I said, the only thing I didn't get clear coated, I even got the wheels, most of the stuff, but I found a couple of other parts that I didn't get masked off through the process. I didn't realize that on the back end, the very back of the of what I call the bathtub, there's a section there that I've got to mask off and also paint with the secondary color, as well as the top of the commander's hatch. So there's a couple of parts that I have to go back to. Old school. What's up, George? George is in the house. How's it going, everybody? Those panels turned out nice. Yeah, you want to see them? You want to see them, Nick? Here we go. Let's go down at least to the bench here. We'll see. I got everything. All this stuff's clear coated. All these wheels, and so they're all clear coated. But like I said, the commander's hatch I also clear coated, thinking that I was done with it. But I found there's also 3 little different panels that I have to mask off and paint with that. Paint those other colors for the non-slip surface there, and we'll go to the close-up here so we can see. This is where I'm at with the turret. So it's pretty complex, considering the other ones were pretty much just rectangular shapes, squares and rectangles. There's a lot of geometric shapes on here. So as you can see, this whole side, each one of these open panels is going to be painted with that secondary color. So I've got to finish all the masking on this side too, and then before I can paint that, and then I will get to that. But what I did want to show you is this. You can see that secondary color came out rather nice. I like it. It's not too dark. It's not too light. It should show up nicely, especially after doing all the panel lines. It should hopefully enhance those a little bit because they are textured. So hopefully they'll absorb a little bit of that panel line solution there, and you'll be able to see that texture a little bit more. I'm hoping, but we're going to find out tonight. So I'm going to pull these fenders off. These have not been glued on. The exhaust units here have not been glued on either. I've just placed them on there to kind of see how the whole piece comes together. But I do like the way that second color looks on this. It looks nice. So looking at this here, this is the bottom portion. Right on the back here, there's 2 little very thin triangular pieces that have to be masked off. That's what I didn't realize. I forgot that was there. So when I started doing the clear coating, I saw that, and I've got to go back. But I've pretty much got this whole piece gloss coated, enough for panel lining. It's not super shiny, but it's enough that there's no texture there. My panel line should go down nice. We might get to that tonight, but we'll see. First of all, I wanted to go over, in the meantime, before the show started, one of my little steps fell off here. A little piece broke off. I had to do some repair work on that. So that's why you see this black void here, because that's where this second step's going to go. But you can see the difference between one that's been panel lined and one that is not. So this piece is panel lined and this one's not. You can see the difference before and after. Quite nice. I'm trying to keep the gloss from blowing out the color, but you can see quite a bit of difference there. So we might do the other one, but I'm going to focus on this piece tonight, and then we'll Oh, Julius is in. How you doing, Julius? But before I go any further, I had a mail call this week, and it actually surprised me because Hobby Link Japan, released a kit, and I I knew I'd purchased it, but I'd forgotten about it. Kind of that it was a March release, and I typically pay for faster shipping because I like getting my stuff now. And you want to talk about fast, man? This thing came in like 4 days from Japan. So I'm going to back up to just this because the box is kind of big. And so we're going to show off what showed up today or yesterday. Or actually it was Monday. Here we go. So this is what came in Monday. The Hasegawa 1/72 scale gouge from Macross. And it's really, really nice. There's a couple little gimmicks. You can have the cockpit open. It doesn't open by itself. You have to either have it in the open position with these little struts that go in place, and you pop those in and have the cockpit open, or you can have it closed. And then there's also what you might be able to see in the picture. There are some red inserts that go in the end of down in the deep wells of the barrels there. So there's some options to maybe light this thing up. There's also some lights here. There's some on the feet, the legs. But you know me, if I'm going to put fiber optics or something in it, I might pop that box. George wants to pop the box. Okay, I'm going to, without jacking up what's already on the bench here. And this is 1/72 scale, so it's quite a bit larger than the original Bandai version, although smaller than the Moscato resin kit that I have, which is in 148, I think. Yeah, 148. It's way bigger than this. So you got some pretty big red parts. Those are obviously the feet. Those are quite a bit larger. There's some good details on one of the other things. I think by looking at the instruction manual, the arms come with several pieces that they're fixed. They don't move. So you can actually, they come with several option parts. So as you build them, you can either assemble the arm fully bent or fully straight. There might be a little bit of articulation there, but as far as the elbows are concerned, those are fixed. So you have to put whatever parts you're going to put in to hold that pose. I think that's the way that works. Let's see. Second set of runners here. There's quite a few clear. These are all the clear red parts for the legs. And for some of the other part, the actual eye, like the sensor eye, for the cockpit is actually on another runner. Let me see if I can. That's over here. And that's actually an amber color you can see here. So what's interesting about the legs on this is it looks like the legs are in basically 4 pieces. It's like a shell. And I thought you would just build this kind of like a square box. But looking at the other runners here, there's actually an internal structure here. Like these pieces are all internal. And then the outer armor pieces go over that. So it's actually almost a solid leg, it looks like. By the time you get to once you fully assemble the legs, it's almost like a solid piece. I will show off the decal sheet, which is a really nice sheet. Bring that out. So here is the full Zentradi decal sheet for this commander pod here. Bring that up. Quite a few markings. Obviously, I don't think all of these are being used. Majority of the stuff up here, I think, will be. This is more depending on the rank or whoever is in command of the pod. Those might be letter insignias. I have to look at the alphabet. I know there's an alphabet in there that has the actual language alphabet and what they mean, but so far it looks really, really nice. And I think after I'm done with the tank, and then I've got a commission project to start for Giovanni. Once I'm finished with that, I think I'm going to probably start that kit. Anyway, what you guys are saying to that? Love that decal sheet. Yeah, it is quite extensive. It's quite big. And I like the scale. At 172, it's quite a bit bigger than the original Bandai kit. And it looks like the details are really, really nice. Let me just do this one more time here. Let's see if I can see this side of the box for you, so you can see some of the assembled excuse me, some of the assembled photos. There is, let's see over here, this is the open cockpit, which has those inserted pieces that have those like pistons or struts that go up and hold that open. And if you look right below that, you can see this is one of the arm sections that holds the arm in a straight position versus being in a bent position. So you can have something like a pose like this where one arm is straight, the other arm is bent. So it just depends on the configuration of those parts. And I was just briefly going over the instruction booklet there to kind of see, but that's what it looks like. You assemble all these pieces, you have the options, you basically assemble it the way you want it, depending on what kind of pose you're going for. But other than that, yeah, it's a nice looking kit. I'm actually very happy with it. Surprisingly, some of the early photos, I wasn't sure if it was going to be that much better than the original Bandai, but Hasegawa did a good job on this one. So that came in Monday, and I'm excited about it. So we'll see what happens there. So let's go down a little closer again, and we'll start doing some panel lines. I'm just using Tamiya panel line accent color. I'm going to use black. As always, I use AK odorless enamel thinner to clean them up. And then, excuse me, my throat is dry. There we go. All right, now we're ready to go. So as always, I'm using Daiso, the Daiso Blue Q-tips. These are quite a bit more compact than a standard Q-tip. They're a little more dense. They don't shred as easily. They do eventually shred and leave some lint behind, but I like the way these work for doing panel lines. One side has a pointed end, the other side has a standard round end, so it's nice for certain panel lines, get into some deep crevice areas or so like that. Generally, I tend to use the round side first, and then I'll clip that off when it gets too saturated, and then I just use it up before I throw it away. And yeah, so those are cool. So again, I'm going to pop these off. And we'll do these first. Let's see, before and after. So I'm going to set this aside here. Bandai kit was based on the original Arai. Let me put that on screen. George has got a good comment here. The original Bandai kit were the gouge. Oops, come on, get up there. Well, nope, that's not what I wanted. What the hell? I clicked on that and it brought a different chat window up. Here we go. So the Bandai kit was based on the original Arai. It was a 172 as well. Are you sure, George? I thought it was 1/100. Because I can I can compare the two. I have the original in my cabinet here. But I think this one is quite a bit larger. But I could be wrong. Let me open it up here. Before we get going full speed, let's see if I can manage to get this out without destroying too many other models. Just knocked over Max. Get over there, Max. You're going to go sit over there. All right, so here is the original Bandai. Mine was 1/100, which is one I built a few years back. Oh, okay. So maybe I'm thinking of this being a Bandai. Maybe this is the MI kit then. So yeah, this is definitely a smaller scale, but for sure I can tell just by looking at the size of these parts and the size of the main guns on it. Quite a bit larger, but I'm going to pull out that red bag with the red runner in it. We can see based on the size of the feet alone just how much larger this is. So yeah. Oh god, this is such a flimsy kit anymore. So yeah, you can see quite a bit bigger as far as just one section of the foot right there. Quite a bit larger. Quite a bit larger. Thing doesn't even stand up anymore. The thing's so damn flimsy. Well, hell, I built the thing probably 20, 30 years ago. I mean, it's been so damn long, I can't remember. All right, you're going back over here. put you back in the case later. People have been bugging me too about November going down to California. I don't know if that's in the cards yet. I know that SCGMC is a Macross themed event this year. So a lot of the people are down there wanting me to go. I don't know. We'll find out. I apologize for coughing. It just seems like my throat is dry tonight. The weather's changing. It's getting a little bit nicer. So it's been warmer, but it's also a lot of pollen and other stuff going on. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for the heads up there, George. I couldn't remember. It's been so long since I built these damn kits. I can't remember exactly what year or what brand. I thought it was Bandai, but all right. So again, the nicest part about these is most of these little panels were rectangular, so it was pretty easy to mask this stuff off. The turret is just full of trapezoid, triangles and all sorts of weird shapes. So it's been taking me a lot longer to get that done. But I'm almost there. Now that I've got one side done, I kind of know the pattern and how to cut the pieces, and it kind of speeds up the process once you do one side. So I did notice that it does tend to go a little faster once you get one side done. But for now, I want to actually, I'm going to try something here because I was hoping these textured, it looks like I might be correct. So putting the accent color on there, you can kind of see the texture. I'm hoping when I go and brush this off that there might be a little bit of at least an outline and a little bit of possible shading in there. And that will further kind of highlight those non-slip panels. That's what I want, but if it doesn't work out, at least the color's there. The main thing is that there's some color separation. But it looks like just by putting some of this on there, because those are raised, it might actually give us at least an outline slightly. But I want to use a little extra solution and just go over the top of these encolorments, so when I clean them off later, I'll use light pressure with the Q-tip and hopefully leave a little bit of that texture pattern on there with this accent color. But only one way to find out, so we're all going to do this together. So one things I want to do different tonight, and please don't let me forget. I know I talk about promoting the hobby and giving everybody kind of a shout out. Anybody, especially the ones that come into the chat. At the end of the show tonight, I want anybody that has a social media page, or whether it's a YouTube channel or just their Facebook page or Instagram, whatever it is. For those that are in the chat tonight, if you want to, go ahead and throw up. This will come later, toward the end of the night. Put in a comment there and put your social media page up there, so I can display that on screen, and anybody else that's watching can actually write it down or search it, and even the people that watch this video later, like a day, in a day or two, if they don't get it tonight, they can see it, and I can put it up on screen so anybody can check out your pages, and again, and further, just like trying to promote the hobby and promote other people too as well. Excellent, all these excellent builders out there. So I'm just kind of getting rather liberal with some of this solution, just on particularly the panels that have that non-slip surface. The other stuff will just be normal panel lines, like on the sides here. So if it looks kind of messy, it's because I'm I want to make sure, I want to see if that texture is going to work, with, if there's enough of that texture there and I didn't smooth it out overly, by clear coating it, there still should be a little bit of that texture pattern on these when I get ready. Ooh, that was a big drip. When I get ready to clean this up. And then I'll do it before and after so you guys can see the other side, the other fender side by side with this, and we'll see if there's any noticeable difference between this one and the one that has, doesn't have any panel lines yet. So how's everybody's hump day? So George and I were talking earlier today. He was asking about when I'm going to be out of town. This week is normal, obviously. Next week I'll also have a show on Wednesday. The following week I will be out of town. So you got tonight and next week like normal, and then we'll take a week off because I will be down in the Portland area for a couple of days. I mean, I guess I could try to do one Thursday night or something after I get back, but that's going to be, actually, no, that won't work because I'll be coming back, driving back Thursday. I probably won't even get back until after 6. It'll be pretty late. So yeah, it looks like, this week is fine, next week's fine, but the week after is just not gonna be a show. And no live stream. So you got 3 more panels up front here. Just trying to go around these and getting kind of liberal with the solution, but I wanted to fill in those areas nicely. I can always take it back off or reapply it if I have to. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for just a second. Actually, now that I've done the whole piece, I can start at this end and kind of work my way toward what's all, using what's already dry here. So start myself with a fresh. There, actually, did I miss one? Yeah, got a little bit I missed right here. Just a tiny bit there. Okay. It's almost dry. We'll give that a couple of seconds. I really like AK's odorless enamel thinner. It's great as an enamel thinner, just as an enamel thinner, but it works really good for taking this, panel line solution off. Basically, for those that, obviously most of the people in this room have used this stuff before, basically wipe it on, let it soak for a second. It'll loosen up any of that solution, and then leave the lines underneath. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, which is, I'm going to show this. So if you look at that now, you can see that texture. I'm going to take a little more off, but where those 2 rectangular panels are, you can see the texture because of the whatever solution has gone in between. So I'm just going around the border of this just to get that additional panel line off, but I want at least most of that texture to remain. Okay, so there. So you can get a close up of that. Come on, focus. There we go. So Looks quite a bit nicer. Now I'm just going to go around the border just like normal. Got to get a little more thinner. And that's what's nice about these Q-tips. If I need to, like if I got to get into some, a little bit of a deeper groove, I can just use the other end with the sharper tip on it, and it'll go right down in there. So far, it doesn't look like I'm going to need it. I don't put too much of the thinner on there, just enough. I mean, if I got to, I can actually rub it off on a. I've got these little blue towels there. I do get too much in there. I can just go back and wipe off a little bit of that thinner, just so I'm not, running. I don't want it to run down the whole piece. I don't need a drip running off of it. I really like the way that's staying behind, so you can see that texture, but also it highlights those non-slip panels. One of the other things I can do is if I get too much, I can just go soak this off, the excess. It also kind of dirties it up a little bit too. Because again, this is going to be weathered, so there's going to be more layers added to this. This is just essentially the first layer of weathering is the panel lines, because it leaves a little bit of grime behind. Depending on how much you take off, you can, even if you clean it off in one direction, it also acts as a streaking effect. If you leave a little bit of that product on there as you're swiping these down, going in one direction, in the direction of gravity, you can add some streaks on there. But most of that will be added later. One thing I'm really concerned about is just getting all the panel lines highlighted. The grime and stuff I can add later if need be. So right now I'm just basically rub the thinner on there, let it sit for half a second. That will loosen up that panel line solution and come right off. All right. I'm going to do this thin line over here first, and I'm going to do this whole section all at once because there's quite a few of those panels all bunched together. All right. Yeah, this Q-tip's starting to shred, so I'm just going to take my nippers here. Got some stout nippers, not normal model nippers, but clip off the excess so I can use the other end here, and I'll just finish up using the sharp end. A lot of these little buckles and things sticking up is what grabs a hold of it. So it's one of the things you'll notice that, like, later on when you start doing your final, clear coats, if you have any of those little hairs on there, little, fuzzies from the Q-tip, you'll see them. They'll light up real quick when you hit it with a flat coat. What's up, Handren? Handren, good evening, gentlemen. And ladies, if there is any. I don't know if there is, but so far only the dudes have chimed in. How's it going? I missed the show and tell. I got a new kit in on Monday. It's the new Gouge from Hasegawa, Macross. It's a Zentradi Commander's pod, essentially. But I can always bring that back up and show it at the end of the show here tonight. It's going fine. How's it on your end? Good. I mean, today I feel pretty good. I've been kind of just exhausted. It's been a tough couple of weeks at work, and just not feeling 100%. I had like sinus headaches at work, which is probably due to the weather and stuff like that, which didn't help. But I found myself I used to stay up to like 10 o'clock, and then I started going to bed at 9:30, and then it's like now I'm going to bed at 9. Because I was tired. I forgot to do the front of this. I got a little bit more here. Down in Florida. Allergies been kicking your ass too, huh? Yeah, Giovanni says, had a bad week. Truck went down. Oh no. 2,800 to get it running again. Ugh. Damn. And I guess that's the cost of doing business with, if you're a driver like that. But clutch is it's a pretty stout unit on a big truck. I mean, we deal with clutches too where I work, but not on that scale. It's pretty. I know you meant Florida. That's what I figured when I saw that message. All right, so we're getting ready to do these last 3 here. I'm just gonna soak that real quick, and then we'll brush it in the same direction because this is tilted this way, so everything's going to kind of run this way. This is the flat, and that one runs that way. So if there is any streaking effects, I want them all kind of going in the same direction. Kind of, if any of that does stay behind, that grime. Got some pretty big buckles here, so I gotta go over this quite a bit. There we go. Yeah, that looks nice. I mean, already just night and day compared to what we started with. And in a sec here, I'm going to show, as soon as I get the front here done, I'm going to show these two side by side. What are you asking, Andrew? Is your phone or whatever auto-correcting on you all day long? Can't tell what you're trying to ask. Giovanni? What are you asking? All right, this piece I think is done enough. I can go back if need be, and I mean, this stuff will work even a day or two later if I see something I missed. That is one of the nice things about it. It takes a little longer to loosen up, but it will eventually take it off. I asked him what kind of truck he got. Oh, that's not what it sounded like. So yeah, Giovanni, what kind of truck you got? Peterbilt? Something else? Damn tablet. Yeah, see, that's what I would do. Blame it on the tablet. All right. So now I'm going to take these and show them side by side here. Try to get them without glare. It's kind of hard though, because every angle I go. So quite a bit of difference. You can see, actually I missed a spot on this already. I can see that already. Got to get a new one, but before I fix that, I'll just show these again. So quite a bit of difference, but I like the way even those panels are slightly darker with that solution in there, getting into that texture. International Proster. Wow, I've never heard of that. That's a probably Cascada. Ooh, Proster. You guys are talking the foreign language. As far as big trucks, I mean, I only know a few. Never heard of a is it international? Is that what it's supposed to say? International, or is that the way it's spelled? Anyway, got to get in here a little bit closer on some of these. I missed some of that solution. Let me just go back over this. I like the way those panels are slightly darker than they were just painted with that darker gray with that number 317 Mr. Color. All right. Yeah, this is going to look nice. And once we add some dirt on there, it'll really look nice. So for the meantime, I'm going to cap this International Pro Star. Oh, that's what it's supposed to say. Kind of like LT's, too damn small. International Pro Star. Well, that sounds cool. All right, so let's start the second one. First, I'm gonna wet my whistle a bit here. For some reason, like I said, tonight I'm just struggling. I've got a dry throat. That's what I get for talking through the entire process. All right. Round two. And just the regular panel lines. I'm just going to do them just like normal, just putting a little bit on each. Line. The only time I'm going to get a little bit liberal is when we're going over those non-slip panels. I need to have a co-talker, a special guest. I could do that, but then if I was to do that, I would most likely not do a lot of building because it's if I have a guest on, then I got to moderate the screens. I got to make sure they're highlighted, stuff like that. So it takes a little bit more. I have to pay attention a little bit more to what's going on screen at the time. So yeah, I've talked about that in the past. Having a guest on, I don't think that's entirely out of the question. I think it'd be fun. Kind of bring back memories to where when I used to do the live streams with Tim, doing the Mechanism, and before that it was those Gundam guys. So let them talk while you work, and then take turns. Yeah, that would work. That would work. All right, now that I've got those lines done, I'm just going to go over each one of these again, kind of liberally here. I'll make a mess, but it'll outline these nicely, and then a little bit of that will get into that texture and just leave a little bit behind when I clean it up. Where is that old man? Oh, Tim? Yeah. I don't know. I know he's hinted at coming back, but it's hard to say. I think his career is what's occupying his time. I don't know if that's true or not. I hope that's all it is. I hope there's nothing else, family-wise or anything like that going on. I know he had some struggles a couple of years ago, but I think he was past all that. But yeah, it'd be nice to get him back in the room, back in the swing of things. Haven't seen any updates really. I guess I'd check out his YouTube, but haven't seen any updates on his new studio. I know he was doing some studio updates periodically, and then that kind of went away too. So, and hiding, been hinting it since the last time he went off. Yeah, I do see occasional posts on like Facebook or something. He'll comment on something in the hobby, something going on. So he's still watching what's out there, but as far as being an active participant, that's been few and far between. It's been a few years. I had the pleasure of being on the Built Sideways podcast a few weeks back. That was fun, actually, about a month ago now, I think. It took a while for them to finally edit everything and publish the podcast, but that was fun. It was fun hanging out with some of the old friends we used to hang out with on Mechanism. So if you do get an opportunity, wherever you listen to podcasts, go check out Built Sideways. I'd have to go back through my messages and see what episode I was in there, if anybody's interested, but it was fun. And you're just talking about whatever, in the hobby. I think we talked about IPMS, we talked about certain cultures and within the hobby and stuff like that. So it's quite fun. I think he just got too damn old for this. Yeah, I don't think so. Shit, Tim's younger than me. There's no way he's too old. But he is raising his daughter. As far as I know, he's still doing it by himself. So I know what that's like. That takes up a good chunk of time. That's a full-time job in itself. So kudos, if that's what's taking up his time. I mean, you got to give him credit. But we still miss him, so. He commented on a couple of my builds last year. Well, that's good. So you did see, like, he's out there. He is watching. He's not just gone. He's paying attention to what's going on. He still hasn't, dropped off the planet. But all right, I did the front on that one. So we're just getting to the end here, and then I can start cleaning this piece up. The front end is about dry. It's typically how I try to do this. I'll do it in sections, but as you get further down a piece, where you started, it tends to dry first, and then you can go back and start doing the cleaning process on that section, and work your way down. And by the time you get to the end, everything is dry, just like the where you started from. So I don't know if that's going to stay, but I try to get the pen line in all these creases, even on some, where there's a ramp or something, the ramp goes up, there's still not a really noticeable panel line, but there's a crease there where dirt and material may collect and still, leave a defined, line. So like this right here, it's not an actual panel line, but there's still a little bit of a crease there that may collect some debris or, like I said, dirt and stuff. So by going over that, it might just leave a faint line there. And that's okay, because then it'll just outline that portion that much more. So I'm just going a little bit heavy on these last two panels here, and then we'll start cleaning this piece up. Now that the front is pretty dry from here up to about midpoint, let that dry for half a second. And then, as always, I've got my little mascot here, little 144 scale main battle tank. Cool little sucker out of the Ground War set. Really like this guy. That's the mascot for this build. So Giovanni, let me ask you a question, if you're still in the room. Did you see the gouge kit? You want to change up your commission? Just kidding. That one's for me. I don't want to try to find another one. I'm not even sure if Hobby Japan is going to have another one right now. We're probably sold out. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a VF1D Valkyrie and Gerwalk mode. That's what... oh, shit. Looks like I missed a little bit. That's what we're doing for Giovanni. Ooh, you got the 1442, which... Wait. What are we talking about here? Holy crap. George is raising 2 daughters. Well, yeah. Not 100% of the time, but most of the time. Still makes every morning stream. That is true. That is true. You are correct, sir. His water slides are really good. Are we talking about Tim? Giovanni, you're talking about Tim on his water slide decals? And then Handred says, "Ooh, you got the 1442. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. This little guy. I'm sorry. I literally talked about it, and I didn't want you to talk about. Yeah. Well, 2 of them come in the Ground War set, and I built a diorama years ago. In fact, it's the one I almost won the U.S. qualifier in 2013 for GBWC, and it was my city diorama called Officer Down. And 2 of these came in the Ground War set, so I used one for that diorama because I used 3 real grades in that diorama. I had 2 Zaku's and 1 RX-78, and I had a tank in the middle of the street, kind of going down an alley, lining up a Zaku there that was kind of pinned down behind the buildings. And yeah, so I've always had that extra one. I painted both of them, thinking I might use both, but I just didn't have the room. It wasn't really feasible to put both of them on the diorama at the same time. So I just had an extra one, and it's always been kind of kicking around, waiting for a use. So I might use it in another diorama some other time, but we'll see. That's one of the things I talked about on the podcast I was just mentioning was 2013 GBWC and the kind of the crap that went down leading up to that. That was back in the day before Canada actually had its own qualifier. They were lumped into the U.S. Qualifiers, and there was about 7 regionals at that time. Giovanni says, still good with that commission, but last week it hit the fan. What do you mean? What hit the fan? Got plans for future entries? Let me answer Giovanni first here. Still good with the commission, but last week at the fan. Well, if you got issues, man, don't worry about me. I'm on. To be honest, I don't do this to do commission work. If real life happens, real life happens. Don't worry about me. I do this for fun. If somebody wants to commission me to do something for them, I'm open for that. Totally open for that. There's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy it nonetheless. In fact, one of the first ones I did was a perfect grade Millennium Falcon. I always told myself that, hey, I would love to build one of these, but I just didn't want to afford the price tag. Well, as it turns out, somebody came up and said, hey, can you build this for me? And it was a guy from Canada. So I got the opportunity to build one, and I didn't have to pay for it, So that's fine. If something's going on in your life, and we can talk about this on the side, but please, just don't worry about me. If you got to take a break or something like that, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm totally fine with that. Just let me know, and we'll plan accordingly. But I'm going to finish this project first. Excuse me. At least the tank and maybe a base for it, but at least get the tank done. And then I'll start on the commission, but don't feel like I just don't want you to feel like you're pinned down. If something happens, hey, it's fine. I'm totally fine with that. It's all good. Definitely don't want you to feel like you're obligated to do anything. I haven't even started the project yet. So, and again, it's the kit I'm using is one out of my stash, so it's not like I'm going out out of pocket or losing anything there by having to buy a kit and then not building it. It's something I've had, so again, it's no big deal. I got plans for any future entries. Okay, now I can answer handwritten. Have you got plans for any future entries? No. GBWC has kind of lost its glory with me. I don't know how to say it. It's kind of gone in a direction that it's definitely not like it used to be. I think if you want to win GBWC, you need to build what they want to win. I mean, I like to build realistic looking war machines. I think of these as 60-foot war machines, gritty, dirty, and I make realistic looking builds, dioramas. I try to do that. It seemed to me just to turn into more of a flashy art exhibit more than it was a model show. Now this is just my opinion. It doesn't matter. I'm not taking anything away from any of the other builders who have gone and won in Japan or gone to Japan but over the years, it's for me, it just kind of lost its luster. It was not necessarily a priority of mine, but I really wanted to. I tried very hard to win, at least win the qualifier and get there. Not to win Japan. I never expected to win over there just because I knew, you can see what you're up against, but just to go is what attracted me to the competition, was try to be the best in the country. That's great. I got third place. That's that's a good enough achievement for me. But yeah, it kind of turned into something that it just wasn't my style of building. And so I wasn't going to change what I wanted to do just to fit that narrative. I just decided, you know what, I'm good with just building for me. And not to mention, right about that time too, 3 years later, we that was 2013, and I competed in 2 years prior to that, so 2011, 2012, 2013, almost won there, competed in 2014, 2015, and got 2 seconds in the qualifier. That was at Anime Expo in Los Angeles. Um, and then right about that time, we were moving to Washington, and then there was just no qualifiers up here. So not only was it kind of, the feeling it changed in my mind, my draw to the competition wasn't there anymore, or my to want to do it, but also there was just there wasn't any really place to compete up here. Now there's qualifiers, and they've changed the things, but it's just, for me, even Gundam itself is not as, I find myself building more kits of other genres, Macross, armor, stuff like that. Sorry, I missed a bunch of messages here. Let's see. Whenever time allows, I want to enter one day for real with something big. Well, just as long as you make sure you're within their size limitations. I mean, there was one guy that actually entered a Dendrobium, which was just crazy, but he actually cut the barrel off, and purposely so, made it look like it was just, like a diorama where the scene cuts off. He did that so it could fit inside the box, because you've got size limitations where something like that has to fit in. It's like 16 by 16 or something like that. I can't remember what the height is, but I think the or the perimeter, or the perimeter size diameter is about 16 by 16, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. But that was just what happened for me. It was just kind of lost the drive to do it after realizing that it's really not what I like to do. Actually, they want a story that told with the models. That is true. It's something to tell a story. Also, it's something that's going to sell more models and look great on a magazine cover. I think is part of it. They're looking for uniqueness, along with high class craftsmanship. Yep, all true, all true. Now you're telling me you're growing out of Gunpla. No, not necessarily. I just, for now, it seems like my interests have gone toward other genres, like mainly around the Macross stuff. I mean, Macross is really what got me back, or got me into Japanese anime back in the 80s. It's what, with the launch in the 80s of Robotech and all that stuff in the U.S. market. That's just what drew me to that. And then I was in high school at the time too, so I had art classes I was doing, and all of the drawing that I was doing was all geared around what I was seeing, that style of animation. That's what got me into it. So I don't know. It's just everybody goes through phases, I think, to be honest. I'm sure I've got plenty of Gunpla kits in my backlog, and I know I'm going to get back in and do a Gunpla kit here soon. I mean, this is Gundam, but it's kind of not, because it's armor, but it's in the Gundam universe. So that's what I kind of do is, if I do something like this, I tend to skirt around rather than just doing a standard Gunpla kit. I'll build something from Bandai in the Gundam universe, but it's not necessarily a Zaku or something like that. There's an early Dendrobium design where it doesn't have a long barrel. Oh, that's interesting to know. Did not know that. But I know the one that was entered in Japan a few years back actually did have the big barrel, but it was cut down to fit. I started with jet fighters and cars. Yeah, I did my fair share of those. And then I know I did some Star Trek, and I know we burned a USS Enterprise to the ground once. My brothers got together with some model glue and a match. And this is what we did with old models we were bored with. We'd burn them to the ground. That's what kids do back in our time, right? Maybe not now. I'm not condoning setting fires, but we did stupid things as children, right? Giovanni says, I want to enter GBWC. GWC or GBWC? I think my idea is too complex. No, I don't think any idea might be too complex. Maybe it is. Just depends on how much time you want to spend to finish it. Some guys will spend like Tim. I mean, he spent how 7 years, 5 years, I think, on the one that got him his highest scores of any U.S. Entry ever. I think he got the highest with his what was it called? Pelican? Was it the Pelican? Gosh, now I'm having a hard time remembering that one, but I think it was called Pelican, wasn't it? Anyway, yeah, he's gone a couple times, with some really outstanding stuff. But I don't know. Every time I look through what I'm going to build, like when I get done with the project, I'll open the doors in the closet and I'll just look at my backlog and see what calls to me. And the Gundam stuff just, kind of doesn't yell out to me, but we'll see. I'm sure that'll change. All right, I'm going to move over to this larger piece. I got the two fenders done. Let's see here, side by side. Looking pretty nice. I may go over and lighten up some of those lines a little bit. But for now, I've got a few panels in here. This black area is the area these are covered up by the fenders, so nothing need to be done there. There's actually some tools, and I may still do this. I'm going to try to. Where this fender goes on, there's some tools and stuff that are supposed to be mounted here, but with the fender on here, those pieces don't get used. But I'm going to see if there's somehow I can mount them on top of this fender. If I can find a way to do it that looks good, I'm going to use those because I really don't want to waste those parts. I think they're nice, but they're only designed to go on underneath if you don't actually put the fenders on. But I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that with this kit. It doesn't make sense to me. Airdrop was his last one. Yeah, Airdrop was good. I got the privilege of seeing that one in person. One of the last times, in fact, the only time. No, he went to GBWC 2 years in a row, and I think it was the second time he went. Maybe it was the first. I don't know. But I was there, and I got to meet him in person again, or one time, and then I also got to see Airdrop in person, which was nice. That was an amazing looking kit. That's what Giovanni pointed here. Let me put that on screen for everybody. There we go. All right. So we're working on the main body. We got the two fenders done. So I'm just going to focus on the front section here. Maybe clean this up first because it's going to take a little while to get through all these little recessed areas, and then maybe I'll do the back half. Let's see how that goes. Take that off screen. I would encourage anybody to enter GBWC. I mean, it's the experience. It's a competition, just like anything else. And where I'm at, they've got they usually have qualifiers at a hobby town or something like that. So. Go for it, but don't ever think your project might be too. That area is going to get. I still got to paint the. I just realized I still got to paint the cables that go around this area. The actual tow cables. There's a little notch here. You can kind of see it. This little notch is one on each side. That's where those cables attach, and then they kind of lay across and then go into these two holes in the back here. So I got to paint those too, but those I can attach at any time. Giovanni says, I may enter the old 160 full armor one day. Wow. Yeah. As long as it fits in that, in the size limitations, you can do whatever you want as long as it's fits into that 16 by 16 by whatever height. Just got to make sure you fit. Another thing that kind of something to think about. I mean, I guess if you get to Japan, that's the ultimate goal, is getting there. But you got to make sure you have a detailed set of instructions on how to pack your kit and, for it to travel, because they actually you have to leave it there. And they've got to pack it up for you and send it back to you. And I've seen nightmares with people getting their projects back and they're just destroyed because they either didn't leave detailed enough instructions, or the people working the event just flat out dropped the ball. But I mean, I saw a couple entries that were just, it was heartbreaking to see when it came back. You will customize the living shit out of it. Well, good. Yeah, because it's going to take more than just a straight build. That's for sure. I mean, I used 3 real grade kits, 2 Zaku's, and like I said, an RX-78. I had flickering LEDs in the buildings, because there was a Zaku crashed down on the rooftop. I can bring it out and look at it. You guys want to see it? I can get it out of the case. It's still there. Tell me if you want to see it, and I can take a break and go over there and grab it. I won't be able to light it up because I'm not sure the LEDs work anymore, but at least I can show you what I did enter back in 2013. So let me know in the chat. So this is the little commander's roost here with this. Actually, no, this is the driver, excuse me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have the driver in here. I probably will, but there's 2 options. You actually just put his torso in here with his head kind of sticking out with the hatch open, or you can actually attach his legs. There's the kit comes with a set of legs for him, so you can have him standing somewhere else, on the tank, not if say it's not moving or whatever. Okay, so Handred says yes, and Nick says I'd like to see it. So, all right, cool. Let's take a break. I'm going to make some room here just so I don't worry about knocking anything over. So I'm going to take this and just put it to the side here. This back on. Give me a second to dig it out. Actually, no, I'm going to put this over here. Take the fenders and stick them over here. I'm just moving stuff out of the way here because it's built on about a 12 by 12 base. So I'm just going to throw these fenders aside. Give me 1 second, folks. Let me go back to, let's go to this look here. So that's a little bit easier to see. 1 second. I've got all these in my detolfs here. All right, so it's going to be harder to see because you got to look straight down, but you'll be able to see this. So quite a bit of work went into this. Okay, so let me flip this around. So, oops, good thing the lid was on that. That was my thinner. All right, so here we go. Here's Officer Down. So this was a Char's Zaku real grade, and then this was a regular standard green one. But I wanted the Commander. Hot damn, you remember that? Well, good. I'm glad you do. So there's our little 144 tank. And I'm looking at it now and I realize I have a little antenna on there. I don't know it must have been a piece of wire. I think it was some kind of straight wire I made an antenna out of. But the RX-78 was lit up. His eyes light up. I had wires going through his body and then out his knee into this building over here, and that went through the floor. So the battery supply was underneath. Each, like the Zaku back here, also had an eye lit up, and that wire went out through his foot in the back behind the building here. And that went into the buildings there. And then I had flicker LEDs on the inside the buildings to kind of light up, like the lights were flickering. I also had an amber LED under this awning here that flickered like a, let me blow it up here. Problem with Giovanni says, the problem with my idea is to be really weather. The diorama has to really weathered and have never done weathered kit. All my builds are clean builds. Well, yeah, that will be a challenge if you're trying weathering for the first time. I would practice a little bit. That always helps. Weathering is not a must. Yeah, well, that's true. It's not a must. In fact, most of the ones that win are not weathered. So let me see what I can show off here. Oh, I bought 2 1/4 scale vehicles. Like if you look at the little truck here, okay, that was a die-cast 1/4 scale pickup truck. I made all of those garbage bags out of an actual garbage bag. I cut into little tiny pieces, and then I put a small piece of blue tack inside, rolled it up in a ball, and super glued it to look like and then trimmed off the edges to look like garbage bags, because those are dumpsters. Those are resin dumpsters. In the front here is a crashed 1/4 scale Dodge Viper that I blew out all the windows out, made it crash through the chain link fence. That's all N scale. All this stuff is N scale buildings that I used. In fact, let me see if I can do this. I don't know if my tank's going to fall off. I'm trying to see if you can see the building. There's what does that building say? It's Miracle Co. That's right. It's Miracle Co. If it works, it's a miracle. That's what the building says. It's a Co. Then I added some power lines going between the buildings. Some of them are laying on the ground. I used some N-scale K-rails that are destroyed. I took a piece of brass rod and I made a bunch of shells, like shell casings back here for the Zaku's machine gun. Most of the stuff's all N-scale. That's what I used. And I used a bunch of I figured out that I could cut up with almost shred like pieces of paper, making little tiny clumps of paper, gluing them all together, and then weathering the crap out of them, making them look like garbage and debris in the streets. That piece needs to be showcased somewhere for builders. That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind putting it in a store. In fact, I think I did put this in a store. There was a Galaxy Hobby up here in Washington. I had it on display there, and then they ended up having to close. So I had to go back and rescue it. Otherwise, yeah. In fact, here's one of the other things that I did. Let me see if I can zoom in here. There are some really... So if we get close to, let's see, right here. So you see that shopping cart? That's a photo etched shopping cart laying on its side right there. And there's another one. Let's see, where's the pickup truck? Oh, the pickup truck. Okay, back here. There's another shopping cart right there, right next to the dumpster. So yeah, these were die-cast cars that were in pristine condition when I bought them. These little 1/4 scale cars, and I blew the windows out and scratched them up and weathered the crap and made them look like they'd been, blasted. There's a hole in the shipping in that trailer right there from around going through it. And then I had a resin air conditioning unit. You can see the blades inside. Those are photo etch fan blades inside under the screens. Quite a bit of small scale stuff went into this. Works like this. Is a shame to be shelved. Yeah, well, it's at least in my glass cases here at home, so it's not a big deal. So it's here for people to come over and enjoy it. So let me throw this back in the case here real quick. All right. So yeah, that's a little bit of history back in the day, and now we're just building a 1/35th scale tank. All right, so let's get back to it. Bring this piece back over. Really nice work. Thanks, Nick. I do appreciate it. Man, I put a lot of time into that thing. I mean, that was my heart and soul. That was when I won the qualifier. It was like everybody that I knew was thinking, "Yeah, you're gonna go, man. You're gonna go." And I had to wait for Bluefin to tell me, like, had I won or not. And then I got the text message saying that I got third place. And some people know this story. In fact, I talked about it on the podcast. It was kind of disappointing because the guy that won that year, won the U.S. qualifier, he had won 2 years prior. So this was his third in a row. And the kit he entered wasn't even complete. He didn't have a completed base. So, and not taking anything away from it. Outstanding, amazing builder. Obviously he won the U.S. qualifier 3 straight years. But I thought I had him this time. I thought, this is it. I'm going to get him. And so he entered his kit, ends up winning the qualifier, goes to Japan, and actually assembled a new base for it. And the problem is once you enter GBWC, you can't take something different than you entered with in Japan, right, to Japan. So the moment he showed up in Japan, he was disqualified immediately. So it kind of just put a sour taste in my mouth. I was like, it was the beginning and the end, but that didn't dissuade me too much. I still tried the next year and the year after that, but after getting two second places in a row after that, and then of course, like I said, I was moving and there was a lot of other stuff going on in my life at the time, so I just never got that fire back to try again. It just didn't happen. So I apologize for coughing tonight. I'm just talking a lot. My darn throat is dry. So I've got lots of little rivets here that I'm trying to highlight. So it's just doing little dabs here and there. What a dumbass. Yeah, and I mean, nothing against him. I'm not going to mention his name because, like I said, he's an outstanding builder, and I haven't heard much of him since then. I think he kind of dropped off the circuit, but most of his work was all scratch building customization type stuff, and it just really was phenomenal. And that's really what won him the thing. But to do that, knowing that, you had to have known you'd been disqualified. I mean, I wouldn't have been. My point is, I wouldn't have even entered that year because there was even some question whether or not he was going to get a kit finished. And that's another reason why I thought I had a shot, because I'm like, okay, I don't see, I didn't see Kevin's entry. I don't think he's gonna make it. I thought for sure that I would, might have a better shot knowing that he was out of the running, and to roll up with something that wasn't really complete and then go to Japan and instantly get disqualified. It just kind of it's like, yeah, well, was upsetting. And then there was some judging issues in the couple of years after that. There was just the people running it. There's a lot of things that kind of contributed to the way I felt about it. But I don't want to take anything away from it. It is their competition. It's Bandai's baby. They can do what they want with it. And I certainly encourage anybody to compete in it if they want to. It was just, that was my experience at the time. And, that's the reason why I really haven't tried to enter. I mean, I guess I could have this year. There was an opportunity to go to one of the hobby towns here and enter, but the only thing I had that was really worth anything was my my Hainu HWS with the custom paint. This year's U.S. winners were really underwhelming, in my opinion. I mean, last year. Yeah, I hear you. But I've been so disconnected from it that I haven't really been paying attention to what I saw. A few. In fact, the ones I've been more interested in was like Canada's entry, the one that got third place. Or was it third place or second place this year? I think he got second place last year, the World Cup. He's just amazing. I mean, we're friends on Facebook too, and we're always encouraging each other. Yeah, he did with his loading diorama. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. U.S. judging has always been questionable. Bandai really needs to have a set of judges. Yeah, well, they used to. In 2013, when I got third place, that was a set of Japanese judges. They were, wearing their Bandai coats. They showed up and did their thing. And what was crazy was they were talking about, I mean, or was it the next year? Oh, it was the next year, because I did another diorama after that. I did the just an urban assault type, and I narrowed that down to just call it just urban assault. And I did a lot of armor customization on that, a lot of plot plate, a lot of plastic armor mods, just not taking away from the overall shape of the kit. I wanted it to make like an urban assault version that had, increased close quarter battle type armor, enhanced armor pieces just for, if close quarter combat kind of thing. So I did a lot of customization on the armor. And I remember those judges, they were looking at my kit and they were looking at the one that actually won, ended up winning the qualifier that year. And they were going back and forth about which one they were going to select. And I thought for sure I might get it again. So it's like, okay, I didn't win in 13. Maybe I'll win in 14. And then I didn't get it again in 15. And it was, like I said, in 16, I moved up here. So it was time to move on, do something different. Okay, fellas, have a good one. Good seeing you, Nick. I'll give you a shout out. Hey, if you want to throw up any kind of social media, whatever your handle is, go ahead and throw it in the chat. That make I can put it on screen. Everybody can see it. So check out if you got a page or if you got a channel you want somebody to be interested in. I'm going to try to make an effort to promote the other builders that come into the chat and stuff. Ryan is a master class. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan Liao. Can't remember how to say his last name. You are correct. Yeah, he is great. Every year, everything he does, it seems like he produces just outstanding builds every year. I don't think that's the first time he's gone to Japan, right? I think he's gone before, if I'm not mistaken. Just amazing. Maybe one day we enter together, Mike. Can you do that? I don't think you can. I think you got to just build your own yet, but I could be wrong. I'll finish that off in the back half. This front half's going to get complicated. I'm going to run out of time here. Maybe I should have done the back half first. There's a lot of intricate little bits. This front half, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish the whole thing. Not a joint build. Oh, the same year. Okay. I was thinking, get her together. That'd be a first. That'd be fun, but yeah. I don't know. I kind of have different priorities now. We'll see. Maybe the fire will. I'll get a fire lit up. Maybe I'll do it someday, but that's going to be one of those years that the GBWC becomes like the year-long project. Like this is the only project I'm working on because I can't turn it. You're just not going to be able to turn it out as fast as doing like a kit like this, and expect to even get close to qualifying or winning the U.S. qualifier, just because it has to be perfection. And so, like Tim, back when it took him 5 years to finish his first, when he got his first U.S. championship, that was a 5-year build, and everybody kind of gave him a hard time about it, but you saw what went into it. And when he did win, it was like, well, if that's what it takes. The problem is time. It's hard to come play well being an adult. That is true. Amen to that. And like I said, I have kind of different priorities now. It's not a huge. Before it was like, that was what we did, and I was a member of those Gundam guys, and they were also promoting their own competition, SCGMC every year, and but that was part of the whole thing, was not only competing with those guys, but putting on that show. And when I moved up here, that's when kind of just the priorities changed. I came up here for work, and the rest is history. Now we may end up moving again. We'll see. I don't want to, but this flipping state is going to tax us right out of our homes. And, I hate to say it, but may have to relocate yet again. I don't want to, but I might have to. I usually finish a build every few years. Every few years? Whoosh. Well, again, real life gets in the way, and I understand that. I totally get it, I used to work at the Renaissance Fair like every year. I did that on top of all of the time that I spent building models. So when I was doing that, took up a lot of time. A lot of time. And then I kind of retired from that scene, but now we're up here in Washington and we're kind of working it again. We're doing the fair scene again a little bit, and my wife and I have been doing that. So you're right. You just don't have all the time you used to. You used to have a lot more time. Actually, these are going to be covered up. I'll do them anyway. So I'm pretty sure the skirt armor covers this section up, but I'll do them anyway. Come to the east, Mike, where everything is cheap. Yeah, I will be going east a little bit. but not that much. If I do go anywhere, it'll be Idaho. Cheaper cost of living, and live like free Americans. Yeah, it's crazy when the state you live in has such a deficit, and the only thing they can figure out how to fix it is to just raise your taxes. It's beyond me. It's getting stupid. All right, boys and girls, it's 7:30. I'm gonna have to clean this up after we're done with the live stream here. So let me go back up here. So we got a little bit done. Got two fenders done. We got this section covered in panel liner, so we're going to let that dry for a second. We'll end up cleaning that up. I got one of these side skirts done. Got all the wheels sitting here. Some other parts. I got the barrels. I don't know if you can even see those. The gun barrels. They're all the main turret. Those are all done. I got to finish masking the turret. That will happen this week, hopefully, and then I'll have all that painted. In the meantime, I will also mask the several little pieces that I just missed for these other panels that I oversaw. I didn't see them the first time because there's just little small bits here and there that I didn't see. I got to finish painting those, and hopefully we'll be able to move on to the next stage of weathering after this. So let's see. Henry says, Giovanni, once the drive and the motivation sets in, you will always be time, even if it takes 10 years. That is true. That is very true. So I'm going to go down the list here and say hi to everybody. At this time, if anybody wants to put their Instagram or their live stream, whatever they got, your YouTube channel, whatever, put it in the chat right now, and I'll make sure I put it on screen for anybody else to see, and then they can write it down and check you guys out. So that's what we do here. So let me go to the top. We'll start off here. First in was Nick. Nick's already gone, and then my brother, and then Giovanni. Then we had George in here after that. Good to see you again, as always. And moving on down, Julius showed up. How you doing, Julius? Hope you're still here. If you are, go ahead, throw your excuse me, gosh. Throw your live streams or whatever, your handles in the chat. We had Handren. Handren's always good to have you as well. Moving on down, I think that's pretty much it as far as people in the chat. I don't think there was anybody else. If I missed you, I am sorry. But if I did, put your name in the bottom. One last chance before we close things out here. And we're all good to go. So, yeah, Nick's out. Getting down to the bottom here. I'll take that one off. Tennessee. No, I'm not going to Tennessee like that. Good state for property taxes, huh? Okay. Well, that's good to know. YouTube and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Yeah, thanks, Hendren. I appreciate that. Good night. George, good to see you as always. And we will check you out. George is Mr. Old School Gunplay. You can find him on YouTube as, is it George Old School or is it just Old School? I can't remember if you changed your handle on YouTube, George. Let me know. I'll put it up on screen. Oh, George is still here. Yep. Much appreciated, Mike. What's Hendren, do you have any kind of handles you want to throw up here? And I can put them on screen real quick for everybody that's watching or everybody that watches later. Put it in here. You got a few more seconds, and then we'll call it a night. But good to have you guys. Giovanni, one last thing he says here. He says, I have a HG Dom that I'm just going to matte coat, not finished, but I'll have to move on to other projects. Hey, that's okay too. That's sometimes the way that works. Just Old School Gunplay now. Okay, so go ahead and check out George on YouTube. He no longer does his live streams on Instagram. He's on YouTube at Old School Gunplay. So good to have you. You have a YouTube too? We'll put it up there, man. Where is it? It's my name here. It's Hasaki Art. That's all it is? Just Hasaki Art? Okay. If that's the case, go ahead and check out Hendren. I know you're going to love what you see there. So Hasaki Art on YouTube. Check him out. If you want to know how to spell it, there it is. And then George's Old School Gunpla right there. All right, you guys. Let's go back up here and look at my ugly ass mug. All right. Thanks again so much for joining in tonight. As always, everybody that watched and those of you that chimed in on the chat, thanks again. You guys make this show happen. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Support the channel. YouTube seems to be the way to go. I do broadcast on 3 platforms every time. I'm using StreamYard to do that. So I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But Facebook has decided they're going to start deleting all videos that are over 30 days old. So if you really don't want to miss out and you want to see every step that it took to get to this point on the project, this is part 7. And you can go back on YouTube and see every single stage of the process up until now. So handsome brother. Good night, ugly mug. Yeah, thanks, George. I'll see your bald ass head in the morning. So... All right, you guys. Anyway, be good humans. Go out there and be good humans. It's all. Good night, everybody. Anyway, we will catch you next time.